Hello, everyone. Whoa, it's bright. Let's turn that brightness down. Wowzers. Okay, the light is not that great, but welcome to Untangled, episode 113. I want to go and look for something that's going to raise up the computer. Give me 1 second. Okay. It's a little bit better. But we will handle it. We will handle it like adults. Hello, everyone. It's really good to be here with you guys. I wish I didn't have to wear these glasses. Maybe I'll take them off for right now. I just won't be able to read your comments. Much better. Much better. How is everyone? I'm really happy to be here. I am going live from my tent here in Lake Nakuru in Kenya, and really excited to share some stories with you, share what I've been going through. I always feel like I'm going through something. Um, but if you are new here, welcome to Untangled. We discuss the evolution in human consciousness. We talk about the ups and downs, the ins and outs. We make the uncomfortable quite comfortable. And really, we just break down the evolution in very basic, simple terms, and very basic, simple ways of understanding what you're going through. Not complicating it, making it too difficult to understand what we're doing here on the planet, why we're here, and how best to navigate it. It's quite a wild ride, very wild ride right now. Very loud and chaotic, and also very still and very calm. There always seems to be these different phases that I find myself in, walking through this evolution, or crawling through this evolution, or screaming through this evolution, or skipping through this evolution in human consciousness, recognizing and knowing that we're all experiencing it in very different ways. Um, so thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this community. Thank you for being here live with me today, or watching it on the replay. My face is sunburned. I went out on the lake the other day, and I'm not a big sunscreen person. And I forgot my hat. So we got a little sunburned. Um, but I was talking to I'll share what I'm doing here in Kenya in a second, but I was talking to my mom this morning, and I said to her, I was like, I feel like I'm never getting a break. I feel like there's always something that I'm dealing with or navigating internally, like inwardly, right? Like as soon as I get through one hurdle, something else comes in, and I'm okay with it. Like I'm a bring it on gal now, like I'm ready for anything, but it just never seems to end. It's like, I sometimes I look around and I'm like, you know, why I it's not, it doesn't slow down. It doesn't seem to get easier, and I'm not complaining, but it's an interesting awareness that um there always seems to be more to peel back. There always seems to be more to unravel, and I truly believe that is the purest expression of evolution, is that we are never at some, state of enlightenment or awakening where it is a blissful state where we're not, at least not in this lifetime, meaning in the next 70 years, we are gonna be continuing to peel back massive amounts of programming within our own mind, and that is a huge undertaking. Um, Hold on 1 second. They're coming to see if Hello? Yes. Yes. 1 second, guys. It's perfect timing for dinner. Hello? Hi.
Decided to bring supper.
Oh, okay. Sorry, you guys. Are you guys bringing it now? Oh, wow. Okay, perfect. Yes.
I didn't want to disturb you.
That's okay. Do you want to say hi to the people?
Okay, no problem.
Come say hi.
Hello, hi.
Hi. That's all the people.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
How are you?
Say hi, everyone.
Hi.
And then they give you little hearts. See the
Wow.
hearts?
I appreciate it. Yeah, sure.
Very cool. Very cool. Thank you so much. Yeah. Yep. Yes. Yay.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
The people say hi. Take care. All right, you guys. We're back. We're back. Anyways, what I was saying and what I truly believe about the evolution in human consciousness, what we're going through is uh there's always more peeling back. There's always more to discover. There's always more programming, whether it's, well, it's almost all thought form. But yeah, it's an interesting time to be here, to be on the planet. So I'm all for it. Anywho, what am I doing in Kenya? Why am I in Kenya? And what's happening? I came to Kenya to write my next book. And the book came through when I was in Kenya, and the book came through right here at this lake. And I was there are these beings that were in the lake, Lake Nakuru, and they said, soon as I walked in and saw the lake, I heard this loud voice. It said, uh, "You're going to write your next book here." And I'm like, pretty sure that's not going to happen. This is Kenya, and also a random lake a random camp on a cliff. Like, no, no, we're not doing that. And it was like, yes, you are. And when you have this like really strong intuitive hit and you have the means to be able to follow through with it with massive amounts of gratitude for that um, ability to follow through with that, you follow through with it. And I also have a retreat here in February with a group of people. So I decided to come early and seclude myself. So I've been here for a week, and ask me how much I've written. About 10 pages. um, why? Because I've been having this really powerful experience with God. And the book is about the God particle. So the book is about activating this essence of God within you, literally like a spark, and how to access it. And I believe that this is the next phase of our evolution, is really understanding the embodiment, the true embodiment of soul and God, which means that you are living as the character of human. So you're living as human. Like there isn't any getting away from duality, um, negative and positive. There isn't getting away from what we would consider evil on the planet, right? This is going to be here for a very long time. As difficult as it is for people to want to accept that, it's true. And so this what a large majority of humanity will begin to step into is full surrender into what this dualistic and polarized planet feels like, while meaning you are surrendered to this experience. You're no longer fighting and trying to get out of it. It's a deep surrendering into what polarity is all about. Um, that there are days where you're going to feel really great and days where you're not, and that gets to be allowed. This idea that we are in a fixed state of being, like, oh, we're only going to feel certain ways as we move through the evolution is just simply not true, because of the simple fact that we live in a polarized dimensional field. So even if you were to raise your vibration to some massive frequency, you are still going to see and be in polarization, polarity. And so it's quite interesting to recognize that this is an evolution in human consciousness where we are going to be standing in a polarized field, learning how to embody, which means come into the body. So awareness moves from the mind into body. That's what embodiment is. It's going into the body, meaning the awareness of how you view the world, the experience of being in the world stems from a physical body location. So what that means, embodiment means, is that as you walk around, you realize you're encased in physicality, you're physical, your body. Well, you're not the body, but you're in a body. So you're feeling more. There's more sensations in the body you're feeling. There's more aches. There's more pains. There's more emotions. The thoughts are louder because you're able to hear the thoughts. When you're not inside the mind, you're now observing the mind. So as soon as you get into the body, you begin to observe the mind. When you're inside the mind, you think you're the mind. So when you're inside thought, you're just thinking all day long. You don't realize that you're inside thought process all day long. And so the embodiment is going into body and using that lens of in the body as awareness. Um, and as that happens, you can't help but bump into soul, which is you. You can't help but bump into this essence of God, which is also you. And you do that all while you are still playing this amazing character of human. And you do it while you are watching a polarized dimensional field, right? Polarized begin to merge back together into a unified field, which is going to take a very long time. And that's not me being negative. That's me understanding how dense this physical reality is. And that there is this beautiful process and a slow process of frequency or energy shifting into higher vibrational tones, right? That's what we're doing here. Anywho, all of that to say, um, when I got to the lake, super jazzed about like, yeah, I'm gonna go in there and just start writing. It's gonna come through. I'm gonna be so stoked. Let's do this. By the way, I'm completely by myself, and there's no distraction. Um, so I had a tad bit of a panic attack the first day or two of like, oh, we are, there's nothing. It's just me, and that's it. And within, I don't know, less than a day, I started to feel this presence around me. And if you've been with me for a while, you know that I can access a lot of different energies. And this energy that came in was God. It was God. And you can use whatever terminology that feels most comfortable to you, but God feels really good to me to use. And what it felt like was this like omnipresent energy that um it takes my breath away. It hasn't gone anywhere for the last 4 or 5 days. It's just been here. And I've accessed this essence or this vibe, this energy before, but briefly, like in fleeting moments, it's come in. But it is overarching. It is the essence of everything. It is the creator. It's the creator of everything. And the moment I started to feel its presence, I began to relax. The anxiety went away. The worry went away. The trying to figure out, what I'm gonna do after this, right? Because 'Cause I'm here for 2 weeks, and it's like, "Okay, where are you gonna go after this?" All of the busy mind started to dissolve, and I just began to sit with this energy and also the voice. There was a voice with it. And not like it's a person, because I do not believe that God is a person. um, but it had a way of communicating with me, that I could hear. Um, and to the thing that has been so, surprising to me is, one, I had no idea that I would be connecting to this essence of God. That's the first thing. The second thing is that it's so subtle, but it's also so massive. It's so massive. It's in everything. So as soon as I started to feel it, I recognized it in everything. I recognized it in the birds. I recognized it in the trees, in the grass. I recognized it in me. I recognized it in all the other people. There's a recognition of God when you feel it outside of you. And because I am connecting to it outside of myself, it doesn't have that blissful out of body feeling, because I'm not experiencing it as me. I'm experiencing it as separate from me. And God knows that's going to trigger a lot of people in the spiritual community, but there is a separation in the human experience. And to say that there isn't a separation is to deny the physical reality of being human. And so, what's so beautiful about being on this planet as soul in body, also connected to God, is that you have to hold both realities, which is that there is a separation between the human experience and character that plays everything and the essence that it actually is, while there also is no separation. I mean, the whole process of awakening and evolution is to come back into the full embodiment of soul in the body, connected to the God essence that you are. That's what evolution is all about. It has nothing to do with UFOs, drones, poisons, any of that. That's just part of the play. That's just part of the game. That's the scene. That's not the purpose of evolution. The purpose of evolution is to remember who you are as you navigate the dense physical reality that you're in. And what's going to start happening for us more and more is that that physical reality, that game, all those movies we're watching out there are going to continue to try to pull us out of why we are actually incarnated at this time, which is that deep, deep embodiment, um, embodiment of soul and this God essence. And so, in the beginning of the awakening process, there is a separation. And to be humble enough to be okay with this separation, because it is only in the awareness of separation will you recognize that there is no separation. Many times, what happens in the spiritual community is that we have these ideas and we're taught these concepts of, oh, we're all one. There is no separation. I am all that is. I am one with all. But we're not actually living that in its truth. And the first thing we have to do to be able to move forward into those embodied truths is that we have to humble ourselves and surrender to what we're in. This physical reality playing this amazing character that has created this massive illusion. And wow, what is that separation? Feel into that. I'm not afraid of the separation. Why be afraid of the separation if I knew that I wasn't the separation, right? Why would we be afraid of duality if we know that we're not duality? So there is evil on the planet. Well, if God is everything, why would you see evil as evil? Well, because there are very unique experiences that are happening on a very dense physical reality that is manipulated through a mind consciousness. And so there's all kinds of different manipulations that can happen through mind control, and mind consciousness that can create a lot of different deceiving and nefarious types of energies on the planet, and like demonic type of stuff and evil stuff. And so it's here. And if I'm going to be in the human experience, I'm going to fully be in the human experience, which means that if I encounter evil stuff, I'm not going to say to myself, well, that's just God. Like, yes, sure. um, but also it's not just God. It's being experienced as the way that it's being experienced. And so for me, there's something really powerful about the ability to humble myself deeply to what I have chosen to be a part of, which is the human evolution in a dense, very dense, third dimensional physical reality that is shifting. Um, and the wow of coming face to face with this essence of God in a very human way. I'm not sitting in lotus meditating. I didn't I didn't hum my way into this experience with God. I didn't do any sort of like, fancy things. I didn't light anything. I did nothing. I just sat and said, "What in the heck am I doing here? Dear God, I'm going to lose my mind. What was I thinking?" Blah blah blah. And I felt God. And then I kept feeling it, and then I kept and it has not gone away. It's here right now even as I'm speaking. And what's so beautiful for me about that is I didn't have to do anything. I didn't have to heal anything. I didn't have to vibrate into a high frequency. I didn't have to get rid of thoughts. I didn't have to feel a specific emotion. We spend a lot of time right now in this human evolution trying to get somewhere, trying to reach some sort of state or get rid of certain states. Um, we spend a lot of time and energy trying to figure out how to be better when there simply isn't anything wrong with you. And what we are learning here on this planet is how to be able to be in what is, which is not easy. So I had to sit with that anxiety. I could feel the fear arising, the anxiety arising. What was it? Why was the fear and anxiety arising? Because I really felt alone. I felt really alone. Um, and I had no distraction. I have nothing to distract myself. Nothing. And I just was sitting. And then the realization of like, you're here to sit for weeks. Like, oh. And I could feel when you can feel anxiety starting to rise and you can feel the thoughts creeping in like little ants. And then if you don't have awareness, right? If you don't have awareness, then you can fall into the trap of that anxiety and of those thoughts. And then you're off to the races. But if you have awareness, then you can at least watch the thoughts. You can watch the feeling of anxiety rise in your body. And you're watching it all, right? But the point is that when you start to allow yourself to just simply be in what you are in, that's when greatness unravels itself. If I was sitting here trying to find God, like I want to sit and connect with God, I want to sit and connect with God, I want to sit and connect with God, there would have been a massive amount of efforting into something that is always just right here, that I simply don't have control over. And the more I can let go of trying to control, the more I'll drop into what is always right here. That's the hardest part for humanity. That's another big piece that you're going to find a lot of us are going to find ourselves in 2025 is massive amounts of feeling out of control, which is a beautiful thing because when you're feeling out of control, there's a lot of confusion, and confusion is a great thing because confusion is um, an opportunity to recognize that there is something bigger than you that is leading you. And that bigger than you may first be felt like me as God all around. And then it begins to move back into our own inner awareness that it's right here inside, right? And I was talking to my community this morning about why it can feel so challenging to experience this essence of God within us and even soul within us. And it's because there are so many layers of programming within us. And so what is programming? Programming is literally thoughts that are given to you that are like tape recorders. They're like tapes playing. That's a program. So imagine you are born, you open your eyes, and there are these programs, which is tape, like people talking, and it's a tape recorder and it's implanted into your brain, into your mind. And then you start hearing that tape over and over again. This is how this is how you behave in certain situations. These emotions you're allowed to feel. These emotions you're not allowed to feel. If you're a female, you do these types of things. If you're a male, you do these types of things. In this culture, you do this. In this culture, those are just tapes that were handed to you as part of the human experience that become programs, meaning you hear it over and over again and you just follow suit. You just do what it is that the tapes tell you. And so they're implanted, they are in here, and there's thousands of them, and they literally dictate your reality. And so what's happening, and the reason it's so difficult to access that essence of God and soul inside of us, but we're doing it. It's the next phase of the evolution is that we have to thank you for the super chat. I can't see because my sunglasses or my glasses are off, but thank you for that super chat. We have to start to deprogram the mind. And so the way that you deprogram the mind is there has to be awareness of the programs that are playing. So that's the merry-go-round. And these programs are convincing you that you're not soul. These programs convince you that you're not good, that you're not worthy, that you are the thoughts. These programs convince you that you have problems because you're experiencing emotions. It's like there's nothing wrong with you because you experience anger. There's nothing wrong with you because you experience rage or irritability or sadness or jealousy or whatever you're experiencing. There's nothing wrong with you. It's called being human in a very dense, physical, polarized planet. in a quantum field where everything can be experienced. And the denser you are, the more you're going to experience. That's how physics and energy works. So there's all these programs that you have to pay attention to over and over and over and over and over again until they begin to burn out. You know, like those tapes you listen 90s, like cassette tapes, and eventually if you played rewound it to me, it broke, the tape broke. Programming the mind is it's gonna loop. And as soon as you have an awareness, it's even worse because now you're aware of looping, right? Now you're aware that you're going in this merry-go-round and you are literally losing your freaking mind and losing your mind. Great. You want to lose your mind. You want to lose it. You want to peel those cassette tapes apart. You want them to burst and break. Because what happens is as each program breaks apart, you realize that who you thought you were isn't. And you realize, oh my God, I'm literally a freaking soul playing a character to the inside physical form connects me to the essence of God all around me that connects to everything. Pause. What? It doesn't have this like spiritual woo, like, ah, I am one. No. It's WTF, are you kidding me? What are you talking about? What am I? You are merging human character. I mean, you think about like, really powerful masters that walked the planet, they were very human, a lot of them. Just humans walking around doing, of course they had really profound, powerful experiences, and you could probably feel their energy from a long distance. And they were, I'm sure their vibration was piercing, but they were human, and I just think it's a profound awareness to start recognizing that there is this massive deprogramming within the mind that creates the merry-go-round over and over again. And eventually, that tape expires and burns out, withers away, through awareness. And yes, on one level, you could say, well, we're here to reprogram or, program it a different way. And I personally don't follow suit for that. I don't wanna reprogram my mind. I don't wanna convince it of something else. That feels like just stepping back into the program. I prefer to just recognize that I am deprogramming myself from a program that I believe in and let myself just sit in the vastness of presence and oneness, like what's right here. Like, what is presenting itself right now, and allowing thought just move as opposed to programming thought in my mind. I don't want to do that, um, at all. I want to be in a flow state where, when you're in a flow state, you're not trying to, reprogram the mind. The flow state just allows for thought to come and go, and then you're just deciding whether you're gonna choose to hold that thought as your truth. Flow state requires a massive amount of deprogramming, okay? Because if you are still in really intense states of programming, which we all are, so a massive state of programming is, in order for me to be successful, I've got to work really, really hard, or, I don't. If I've already had a certain amount of children, I can't have any more children. Random program, but it's a program. Um, if I get divorced, I am, not a good person and won't find somebody else. That's all programming. You could say that it's limiting thoughts based on trauma. It's also programming. It's been told to you. Someone told you that at some point. Um, And if it's a powerful program, you're going to deeply believe it. And so in the flow state, you can't have massive programming. You have to be floating through it all. And so when you start recognizing the deep programming, you start um, moving to more of a flow state because you start letting go of trying to control the thoughts. It's challenging when you start realizing that you are in that loop, right? But the point of this is that um, when you are in more of that flow state, thoughts are just coming and going. When you find yourself in one of the programs that loop, you allow to observe it, be aware of it, listen to it, and realize the program. The power of realizing it's a program instead of, oh my God, there's something wrong with me. I need to fix this. I need to change this thought is a different level of dealing with thought. It's a faster way of navigating thought, but it's not easy. We like to fix things. We like to be in control. We like to know that if this happens, I do this, right? So we read all the books and we learn all the tools. And so I know that if this thing comes in, like if these thoughts come in, then I just do this, and those thoughts go away and new thoughts come in, and now I feel better. I'm relieved, right? The problem with that is that you're still caught in the same cycle of trying to get out of what is. And so you'll constantly find yourself in states of suffering, which is just simply not wanting to be in what you're in. So if you can just simply recognize that this is a program that was given to me, implanted literally into my mind as a tape recorder. And the more I can see that, the more I will relax. Wow, that's just a freaking tape recorder. And you move on with your day. And it doesn't grip you in the same way. It doesn't take you in the same way. But there are certain programs where that will be impossible. And then there are certain programs where it will be easier. And you start practicing with the easier ones. You start realizing, wow, that simple awareness of this is the tape recorder, and it's going to go round and round and round in a merry-go-round until it has dissolved. And there is very little I really need to do, which is the actual flow state, right? So the true state of flow, when these thoughts come in, programs come in, there isn't anything you do with them other than have the awareness that they're there, that it's not you, and it's a program that needs to rewind itself and then break apart, which only happens the more I allow it to show itself, listen to it, to be aware of it, and to recognize it's not me. This requires you not controlling everything. And so that's a very difficult piece. This is, again, what I was saying earlier, this is going to be a massive theme in 2025. You cannot be in a flow state. You cannot connect deeper into soul. You cannot access the God essence and God state within you or even around you when you're trying to control everything. And because there is so much chaos on the planet, and God bless all of us because there is so much chaos and there will continue to be a huge amount of chaos and all these stories coming out about this and about that. And again, all that does is take you away from where you're going, which is inward into the body, into soul, into your true expression. So all that nonsense noise is such a waste of drained energy pulling you out of everything. It's you're still going to, the more stories you listen to, the more you're going to feel that anxiousness or that need to control, right? And it's going to be more and more difficult to let go, literally let go and let God, let go and let God, let go and let God. And, sometimes it's not until we are in our deepest pains that we actually let go and we hand it over to something else. But the letting go process is an absolute necessity in the evolution in human consciousness. It's the hardest thing to do. You're always taking action. There's always action being taken. You're always trying to, better your life, make better choices, how you treat people, the kind of job you want, what you want to put in your body. Those are choices you make every day. The flow state is action and surrender simultaneously. So you are surrendered in a flow, in a movement down a river. Simultaneously, you are taking action, paddling in that river. And based on the river, the type of where you are in the river, whether you can just sit back and chill or you actually need to paddle, right? That's the flow state. But it's a constant state of receptivity, openness, trust. So much trust in life, so much trust in God, so much trust in soul, so much trust in the unseen, so much trust in the intuitiveness that comes through, massive trust in what you can't see. That is the evolution in human consciousness, is being able to start to step deeper into the energetic realm, which is what this is all about, while you're in a physical form, which means that whether you like it or not, you're going to have to start to trust what you can't see. You're going to have to start to trust more and more what you don't know. That's where the miracles are going to arise for us in 2025. The miracles are going to arise when you let go, even if it's difficult, even if it's painful. Letting go means I don't need to control the outcome. I don't need to control. Like when I made the choice to come to this lake, right? I took action. I came here. I also didn't try to control what was going to happen. So, for instance, sitting in the anxiousness, sitting in the inability to write, I allowed that. I didn't force anything, right? I just said, "Oh wow, look what's coming up. That's interesting." When you're in a real restrictive state against life, thinking life's out to get you, you're tight, restrictive, and you're fighting against what's happening. So you're getting very angry. You're arguing with it, right? You are forcing yourself through it. And there are moments in life where that's necessary, right? And again, I really want to preface that we're all on different stages of the game, and that's okay. So for many, many people, forcing their way through life is necessary. It's very necessary. But then there are other stages of the game where you no longer feel the need to force yourself through things. And so really recognizing that this evolution and the different teachings within evolution is not black and white. Like it's not you serve one person all of it. Serve everybody one piece of information. And everybody needs to be there and everybody should be doing it like that. It's different layers based on where your awareness is. And your awareness is going to be based on how long you've been aware. And so this notion of no longer kind of forcing through life is really nice. And really, it's a tricky thing. But I can I can promise a lot of you that if you can stop trying to control the outcome of everything, you will be pleasantly surprised by what unravels instead. You can't be pleasantly surprised by miracles and by what wants to be gifted to you if you're always trying to control everything. And but this doesn't mean that you're not creating your life, right? Like, I'm creating my life. I'm choosing how I want to present myself in my business. I'm choosing the people I hang out with. I'm choosing, there's a lot of choice. You make choice every day. There's constant choices. So there's constant action. But I'm doing it from this state of awareness where I realize that I am open to anything happening. I'm open to the path changing. I'm open to this person no longer being in my life. I'm open to this not working out over here or over here. I don't have a grip on what I am, the action steps I'm taking. I don't have a grip on it, meaning I don't have an attachment to how it needs to go. And when you do that, you have a deep, deep faith and trust in life, which is, to me, God. This overarching essence that I've been connected with the last couple of days. And I have felt this presence so deeply the last couple of days. I can tell you, and so many of you have felt this presence, this essence, and I can promise you that it has so much more in store for you than what you could possibly conjure up yourself. And we have to figure out how to step into that more. How are we going to do this? How do we allow this essence of God that is all around us and in us to lead us, to show us? It's very difficult because this world is so choppy. But it's what's coming for a lot of humanity. That's what Christ consciousness is. Christ consciousness is the actual physical embodiment, which means that you are living in the physical form, connected to the essence of soul. So you're walking around knowing your soul. You're walking around, and every decision you're making is from the awareness of soul. That's what Christ consciousness is. And when you have that absolute awareness, so you're no longer in the mind, you understand the tapes that are playing, the programs are no longer playing anymore. You cannot be in a full embodied Christed consciousness and still have programming playing in your mind that you're listening to and following. It doesn't work that way. And so there's this dropping down into the body and into soul and into that Christ consciousness where you are connected to the God essence by the deprogramming of the mind. So that's how this journey works. You're going down, you're descending down into physical reality. You're not ascending out of physical reality. It doesn't work that way. Unfortunately or fortunately, it's a descending down so deeply into the body that you're like, this is torturous. Like, yep, keep going down, because that's where you find soul. That's where you find Christed consciousness. That's where you find the way in which Jesus lived on this planet, which was this deep integration of soul connected to God. That's why there was the phrase of he's the son of God. It's like he knew he was a product of this one essence of God. He embodied that. He lived that. He breathed that. His awareness was that. Every word that came out of his mouth was from that awareness, was from that lens. There was no distortion. There was no fragmentation. We have a lot of fragmentation and distortion right now because of the programmed tape recorders in the mind, and it's not our fault, right? And so there is this beautiful essence around you right now call God, and this beautiful essence within you that I will call soul, that's calling for you to listen more. Listen more. It's going to require you to trust that what you think is suffering is actually your ticket to freedom. The more you grip onto suffering, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this, the farther away you are from soul and God. You're resisting the gift that state of suffering is about to show you. So when you can surrender into that state of suffering, what you're doing is you're letting go of trying to get rid of what you're in. Suffering dissolves and God comes in. I mean, God's always there, but it can come in. You see, when you're in that real tight, restrictive state of suffering, it's almost like you're like this. You're closed off. You're like, no, this shouldn't be happening. This can't be happening. Why is this happening? I can't believe this is happening. I need to get out of this. This is not supposed. You're so self-centered. You forget how this whole thing works, which is that you lift your head up and you say, wait a second, hold on. God's right here. Is God here? Soul's right here. Is soul here? What would that even mean if soul was here? Hold on. Let me lift my head up out of the woe is me suffering state, even though you all deserve to feel that because what you're in might not be enjoyable. But at some point, we have to start to recognize there's different ways of going through this. And when you find yourself in massive states of suffering, which is a tight, restrictive, no, this can't be happening. I don't want this. You honor that. Got it. Completely agree with that. Yep. I don't want to be in this. This sucks. And then you have to let that go. You have to surrender into it. And we don't want to do that because we think that if we surrender into it, that it makes it worse. And it's the opposite. The more you resist it, the more you don't want it, the more you fight against it, the more you're in that suffering state. If you can just let the suffering be, the suffering dissolves. So one of the ways you can do that is that when you recognize, be aware of when you're in suffering. Be aware of when you are in, I don't want this, this shouldn't be here, this isn't okay, etc. And then when you recognize that, oh, I'm in suffering. Okay, suffering means that I don't want to be in what I'm in. 100%, of course I don't. Welcome. Yep, that's called the human journey. I don't want to be in this. Thank you. And then you say, where is soul? Where is soul in this? It'll snap you just like that into a different awareness. Where is God? Is God here? Is soul here? Or use whatever words you want. Spirit, universe, source. It doesn't matter. It's truly this Allah. It's all the same thing. Seriously. So use the words that resonate, but bring it into your awareness. Where is soul right now? What would soul say to me as I'm in this state of suffering? I can promise you one hack that will literally shift you immediately is when you ask, what would soul say right now? What would soul say to me right now? 99.9% of you will hear soul. It is miraculous. So when you find yourself in really challenging moments and you have the awareness to be able to say, what would soul do? What would soul say right now to me, the me that I think I am? Listen, you'll hear it. It's instantaneous. And then it starts to shift you out of the awareness that I am this human experience, that I am this suffering, that I am this pain. And when that starts to happen, you start relaxing and moving into a flow state, which means you start to let go of control. And this has to be practiced so that you can recognize that the more that I invite soul in, the more I say, what would soul say to me right now? Is soul even here? Nope, soul's not here. Is God here? What would God say? The more you start opening to that, the more you let go of that tight, restrictive state of trying to control everything. And the more you naturally move into flow, because you can't force yourself into a flow state. That's the opposite of flow. Flow happens. It just begins. You just find yourself in flow. You can't get yourself there. There's not a to-do list. There's not a checklist of like, do this, do this, do this, and then you're in flow. Flow happens in the letting go of trying to control what is. So this doesn't mean that you don't try to better yourself. Like I was saying earlier, you're taking action, but you have to be in this surrendered flow state of whatever is, and then continuing to ask yourself, what would God do? What would God do? What would God do? What would soul say to me right now? I swear it almost feels like I'm dreaming this energy of God around me right now. It almost feels like I moved into some sort of fantasy movie, and it's like, is this really God that I'm feeling, that this essence? And it's interesting because when I first stepped onto the land in Kenya, I felt God. I felt the beginning of mankind. I felt soul. I felt at home. And not like, oh, I'm home now. Like I felt at home. I felt in my body. I felt safe. I felt whole. And right now, being back in Kenya and tapping into, or not even tapping into, feeling this essence of God, that is exactly what it feels like. It feels like home. It feels whole. It feels complete. It feels safe. It feels all encompassing. It feels it feels like love, but beyond that, it feels like it has my back. Like I am good. It's like this beautiful guard watching over me. And also at the same time, almost like a parent feeling where if I mess up, if I do something that creates pain or suffering or sadness, that it's going to be there holding me. Like it's all okay. I'm safe to be in this world. I'm safe to go through all the ups and downs. I'm safe to be human. I don't want to get out of the human. I don't want to vibrate out of being human. I don't want to vibrate out of this experience, the ups and the downs, the trying to figure out life. I don't want to get out of that, because that would be bypassing the whole purpose of being here. But I sure as heck love knowing that I can feel, at least here at the lake. If I go back to California, good luck. The amount of poisoning in that state. That's the other thing. There are many reasons why we are being inundated with poisons in our air, in our water, and in our food, and in our fight, and in the EMFs, is because it disconnects us from that. One of the reasons I'm capable of feeling God here in Kenya on this lake is because there are a significantly reduced amount of poisons in the air. I feel nothing. There's no chemtrails. There's no spraying in this area. There is no there is very little poisoning compared to what's in California. And so there is because the vibration on the planet is higher than it ever has been, and the vibration in your body is higher than it ever has been. Our ability to access soul, God within us, and God outside of us is so much higher than any other time on the planet. And simultaneously, we have never been this poisoned in our entire human existence. And it's because that poisoning keeps us, it's doing its best to separate us from the awareness of that essence of God. Because I can tell you something, if all of you felt that essence that I'm feeling right now, you would be like, holy shit, I can get through anything. It doesn't mean you don't feel all the ups and downs of the human emotion, but you realize how safe you are. And when you realize how safe you are, you have power and courage and sovereignty. And because we are in a spiritual battle, a spiritual warfare where it is energies fighting against energies, basically, there is a lot of infiltration that is keeping us literally suffocated so that we can't access who we actually are. It's quite scary to think about, but also it's not your fault. There's nothing wrong with you. You don't have a low vibration. You're not, your trauma isn't creating all this stuff, all this heaviness and what you're feeling in the body. There is a war going on energetically that you can't see, but you can feel. You feel it in your body, you feel it in your mind, you feel it. And there is a level of compassion that we have to have for ourselves and for humanity right now. And the number one place that you can go that will alleviate that separation is nature. So it's the number one tool, I would say, over any supplement, over any tool, like, physical thing you're doing, over any device. Spend as much time as possible in nature. That is one of the fastest ways that you can connect to your true essence right now. Because if you're in a place like I live in California, it's gnarly. It is really, really gnarly. I feel like I left a battle zone. That's what it felt like. I felt like I was battling so much. Not only the demons that I encountered in my bedroom, where I couldn't even sleep in my bed for 4 days, right? I mean, that was one battle that I had, but I was also battling all this infiltration into my mind and all these poisons in my body. It was like hitting me in all these different directions. It was like, oh my God, I've got the heavy poisonings that I'm digesting. I've got the infiltration of mind crap that's happening. And then I've got these demonic energies that are coming in and trying to convince me of all this nonsense. I mean, it was like, what kind of battle zone is this? Like, this is freaking gnarly. Is this the evolution in human consciousness? Because, like, I'm going to tap out. Like, if there's a tap out button, like, I'd like that one right now. Like, I'm going to say, Uncle, I'm out. And we can't go out. We can't tap out. We can't say uncle, and so find nature, be in nature. Because it's not about traveling to a place like Kenya in order to get out of it, because most of us can't do that. And so we have to find ways to navigate this in what we're in. Sit by a tree, sit with flowers, listen to a bird for 5 minutes, watch a bee fly. These simple things that are in front of us all day long are what is going to save us. Nature is what's going to save us. Truly, I believe that. Why? Because it is the vibration of God. Nature is the purest expression and vibration of God, and you are God. And so the more that you can see God in form through nature, you will be reminded intuitively, naturally, you will be reminded of who you are. You will immediately relax. Nature communicates with you through an energetic frequency that is felt in the body. How many times have you gone out into nature and you just sat and you immediately felt relaxed? Everything you were thinking about went away. That's nature's job in this evolution. Trees hold a responsibility in this evolution. Seriously, they were literally designed. If you haven't read my book, go read my book, The Divine Design. Trees were literally divinely designed in this third dimensional field to hold fifth dimensional frequencies, which is the immediate connection to God in form. So the 5D field that people have gone, they're very, it's gotten out of control, but the fifth dimensional field of existence is when you are living as soul in the body. So you have this direct line of communication to God. So you are God and you are soul and you're in physical form. Trees hold that frequency. There are these beautiful souls that are holding that. And so they're trying to remind you of what you're doing on the planet. Trees are reminding you of where you're going in the evolution. A bee doesn't. You're going to look at a bee and you're going to see God. You're going to feel the essence of God, but it's not going to remind you of what you're doing. Trees will literally remind you of the evolutionary experience that it's going to be like, oh yeah, that's right. I'm moving into this deep embodiment of soul. And trees want to be seen. The moment they're seen is the moment that you will remember you. We have all of these amazing reminders and tools all around us, but we're so consumed by the conspiracy theories that are true. They're not even conspiracies, but we're so concerned by all the, oh my God, is there going to be a fake alien invasion? Oh my God, are we continuing to, go into this, AI matrixy messed up whatever. Oh my God, we're so lost in that we are literally missing the key to our evolution and consciousness, which is what is directly in front of us, which is nature, which is silence, which is stillness, simplicity. No, instead, we have to consume as much information about all the nonsense out there so that we can stay disconnected from our natural state and the natural process of evolution. And we're convincing ourselves that receiving and listening to and continuing to consume all of this very important information is what is going to help in the evolution in human consciousness. And that's going to be a massive shift in awareness eventually. Is that the wave of evolution, the frequency of evolution is eventually stepping out of or no longer playing in all of those stories, and instead slowing down enough, quieting enough to look around and to see God in everything by recognizing what everything is. I mean, you're present with a blade of grass. You're present with crickets. You're present with it. And then you become then and then you go back into life, and then you walk back into your house and you're like, oh my God, I'm fighting with my husband, or I'm feeling so insecure about my work, or I can't. That happens. And then you walk out and you look out and you say, oh yeah, that's right, God's all around. Holy cow, I gotta go. We are way over our time frame. Sweet baby Jesus, we must go. Okay. That's it. That's my sermon for today. Thank you guys for being a part of God, I don't even know what I talked about. I have no freaking idea. I felt like I just went into some sort of vortex and just popped out. Seriously, I'm not even kidding. I hope this made sense. If you did enjoy this sermon, hit the thumbs up button. I mean, my YouTube channel has been completely halted for 2 years, so it's not like anything's going to change. So it is what it is. But anyway, put the little thumbs up button if you liked it. Yeah, I was in a trance. I don't know what just happened. That was wild. I feel like I'm finally back. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. We started off together and now we're ending together. And I don't know what happened in between. But I'm happy to be back. Pass this video on to anybody that you think would enjoy it, or don't. Either way, it's perfect. I'll see you guys next Tuesday right here in this same spot. I will be in this tent because, God willing, Lori's going to start writing this book. Well, she's writing. I am writing it. I am writing the God Particle. There's some fascinating things that are coming through. I cannot wait to share with all of you. So there's that. And I have some exciting news that I'll share next Tuesday. Really exciting news to share with you all. And that's it. Love you long time. I'm going to go enjoy my dinner. Glad you were here. Lots of love to you guys. See you next Tuesday. And mwah. Go be with God. Go be with God.